Hey friends, welcome back to the Bald Booktuber. My name's Scott, and I thought we'd do a little something different today. Instead of talking about books that I have read, today we're talking about some books that I'd like to read. And in particular, we're going to talk about 10 historical fiction series. I said recently that I wanted to incorporate some historical fiction into my reading diet and get it onto the channel. I've read very little in my life, historical fiction wise, and it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. So I've picked out 10 series that I have a lot of interest in. I'll be going down the list from the ones that I have the least amount of interest in, but still interested, to the most interested. So we'll talk about the title of the series, the name of the author, short synopsis, very, very short because I haven't done a ton of research. We'll talk about the name of the first book, how many books are in the series, and of course who the narrator is, because I will of course be doing them immersively. A good narrator adds a lot to the story. So that's today's agenda. So let's jump into it. For the first one, this is one that just recently landed on the radar. My friend RJ Gibson, you should check out his channel. I'll have it linked in the description. This is one that he brought to my attention, and it looks kind of cool. So this is called the Warlord Chronicles. The name of the author is Tim Hodkinson. It's 5 books, so it's digestible as far as that goes. Viking related, so probably 8th, 9th century, somewhere in there, I would guess. I'm no historian, but I would guess. And there is a character named the Skull Cleaver, so already I want to read about the Skull Cleaver. That sounds cool. The first book is Odin's Game, which is a cool name for a title, very Norse, so that's all right. And I don't know anything at all about the narrator. The gentleman's name is Rich. I don't know if it's Richard or Reichard. It's Rycharde. So you tell me how that's pronounced. Everly is the last name. So on the list, not in any kind of priority placement, but something I think I'd find some interest in. The next one is going to be, of course, the Saxon Tales by Bernard Cornwell. You probably have watched some of the show The Last Kingdom. I know I have. It's a good show. It was based on this series. The biggest thing keeping this down further on the list is the 13 books within it. I'm not really ready for that kind of a commitment right now. So I'll get to this, but it isn't going to be anytime soon, probably. Norse Viking stuff, 9th century, Uhtred, son of Uhtred, you know what it's about. The Last Kingdom, the name of the show, that's the name of the first book also. And the narrator is Jonathan Keeble. I have heard some of the sample, and he is fantastic. So I don't know if he does all 13 books, but from what I've heard of him, he's really quite good. Next on the list is the Raven series, and this is by Giles Christian. This is an author that I'm told if you like Cornwell, you'll probably like Giles Christian. This also is 9th century Viking stuff. I like Viking stuff. Read a book about Leif Erikson when I was a kid. Viking stuff's cool. Blood Eye is the name of the first book. I dig that title. And it is done by Simon Preble, and I have heard of some of his stuff, and he is excellent as a narrator. So excited to get into that. It's 3 books, so very, very digestible. Moving on is the Baroque Cycle. If it's not Baroque, don't fix it. That's a bad joke. This is Neil Stephenson. I haven't read any Neil Stephenson. I think I tried the first book of this, Quicksilver, many, many years ago, and I don't think I got into it. It's parts of it are present tense, and me and present tense don't get along very well, but we'll give it another shot. It follows multiple characters across the globe on every single continent, including a young United States. It's set in the 17th and 18th century. So it seems like something that would be up my alley. If I remember correctly, Ben Franklin is a character within the novel, at least the first one, so that's cool. So I want to check that out. Quicksilver, as I said, is the name of the first novel there. And there are multiple narrators. One of them, again, is Simon Preble, who is, again, very, very good. I'm sure he'll come up again, potentially on the list here. I think he does a lot of historical fiction narration. All right, so number 6 then is going to be the Kingsbridge. I don't know if it's the saga or what it is. It's 4 books now. This starts with Pillars of the Earth, which is the one book on here that I have actually read. I read that maybe a dozen years ago, something like that. I really enjoyed it. About the building of the Kingsbridge Cathedral, which doesn't sound super cool at its base, but I think it was the whole, I like the characters, I like the setting. It's set in kind of Middle Ages England, so it was pretty cool from that aspect and that angle. And then there's 3 more books now in the series. He just put one out, I want to say within the last year. Still writing in that series, so that's pretty cool. As I said, Pillars of the Earth is the first book. John Lee is the narrator, and John Lee is amazing, fantastic narrator, and that I need to listen to more of. He is very, very good. Sorry, I don't think I said the name of the author. The name of the author is Ken Follett, who does historical fiction and thrillers primarily, are the 2 genres he writes in. Number 5, we're sticking with another Ken Follett series, this one I'm more interested in, so it's a little bit higher in the list. This is the Century Trilogy. It's a trilogy. There's 3 books. And this is a 20th century family drama. I believe there's 5 different families and multiple generations, that kind of story. That's all I know about it. I don't have any idea what it's about beyond that, but that's enough to get me at least interested. I think these are big boys. It's 3 books, but they are very hefty sized books. So I'll get to it, but I don't know when that's going to be. Seems pretty cool. Fall of Giants is the first of the novels, and again, it's John Lee doing the narration. So I could listen to John Lee do just about anything. He is really, really good. All right, we're moving on to number 4, and this is the Accursed Kings, and this is by Maurice Druon. I believe that's how that's pronounced. This is actually one that George Martin said was a massive influence on Song of Ice and Fire. This is set in 14th century France, and it details apparently the fall or the destruction of the Knights Templar. So that sounds pretty cool. The Iron King is the first of the books, and it is narrated by a gentleman named Peter Joyce, who I know 0 about. It is 7 books long, so it's a little bit of an investment, but shouldn't be too bad. Moving on to number 3, and this is one a lot of people recently have taken up and say is just amazing. Can't say enough about it. And that is the Warlord Chronicles. This is also by Bernard Cornwell. This is 3 books, so it's a tight trilogy. It's supposed to be, it is an Arthurian retelling, but it's supposed to be a historically accurate one. So it doesn't delve into legend and myth as much, and it's more historical, which sounds great. The Winter King is the name of the first book. And again, it's Jonathan Keeble doing the narration, and from what I've heard of him, he's fantastic. Great narrator. So we're down to my last 2, and these are the ones that probably within the next year or so are the ones I'll give some attention to. It's 50-some books on this list all told, so I'm not going to get it all done this year or even next year, but these 2 I'd like to prioritize. The first one is the Matthew Corbet series. This is by Robert McCammon, who has become somebody I love to read. I've only read 2 of his books, Swan Song and Boy's Life. I read them both last year. They're both fantastic. I love him as a writer. Anybody that likes Stephen King, I think, is going to really enjoy his writing. I would say his prose is a little bit more lyrical, Character work is very similar. He's great. So this is set in 18th century United States, and it, I believe, revolves around the Salem witch trials, or at least witchcraft in general. So that sounds fantastic. I've actually been to Salem. It's a cool place. It's a creepy place, but that's all right. I think I would really enjoy this. It's 7 books, so it's a bit of an investment, but I'm going to try at least the first couple, probably here yet this year, and see how those are going and see if I want to continue on with the series. The first book is called Speaks the Nightingale. Pretty cool title for a book. And again, it's an unknown narrator to me. It's Eduardo Ballerini. I don't know. Maybe he's good. And that leaves us with number 1, something that I've had on my potential TBR for a long time. And this is the Asian Saga. So it's 6 books. It's by James Clavell. The first book is Shogun, which had a TV miniseries, obviously, that I haven't seen. A couple of the other books have been adapted as well into TV and movies, so potentially some stuff to watch after I've read the books, so that is cool. It's supposed to be a multicultural saga, East meeting West type of deal, where I have read parts of Shogun long ago, and I remember nothing. I believe it centers around a English captain, a Navy captain or something, that winds up in Japan, but probably way off, because I don't remember. But yeah, that's what I want to get into. There are multiple narrators, and they are all awesome. So Ralph Lister does one of the books, and he is spectacular. I love Ralph Lister. It's got John Lee, who I've talked about earlier here, and it's got Simon Vance, who is on my Mount Rushmore. He's my number 4 favorite narrator of all time. So how can you go wrong? So that's the list. Those are 10 historical fiction series that I have a lot of interest in. I will not be able to complete all of them this year, or probably even next year, but I do want to get moving on that and at least start 1 or 2 of them this year, and see how that goes. So hope you enjoyed it, and thanks again for watching.